This episode of 6'5 Guys is brought to you by Benchmark Barrels, world-class accuracy. Defiance Machine, defying tradition with innovation. JC Steel Targets, the industry leader in quality AR-500 steel targets.
Hi, and welcome to 6'5 Guys. I'm Ed Mobley.
And I'm Steve Lawrence.
In this video, we're going to talk about our match rifles, or more appropriately, just the rifles we're going to be shooting, because we haven't been attending as many matches as we would like, given our busy personal and work schedules.
Right. So this is 2018. We're kind of in the midst of the 2018 season, and we've actually fielded these rifles a couple of months ago. So no big surprises there for folks that may follow us on Facebook, for example. But we thought this would be a good opportunity to go through the builds, what we're doing this year, some of the choices behind it, because I think in the past folks have found this interesting.
Absolutely.
Well, do you want to, let's first talk about the cartridge choice this year, and then at that point, Ed, you'll go through your rifle and I'll go through mine.
6x47 Lapua.
Yes.
Just a simple neck down. And we're running the 110 Sierra Match Kings, the high BC Match Kings.
And I think it all starts with there, right? It's a cartridge and a bullet choice. There's a lot of good options, obviously, to consider in 6mm. Originally, we had discussed going with the Dasher.
Right, and as time constrained as we were, we said, you know what, we've got to roll with something that uses factory brass or a resizing operation like you can going from 6.5 Lapua to 6 Lapua. We said, okay, we could deal with that
and not having to deal with modifications to the mag and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's another thing with the Dasher is, yes, you have to modify the magazine. So, you know, for the sake of expediency,
right,
it seemed like a good choice.
Yeah. So that's what we're running. We won't go into too much depth on loads, but I'm right now using 36.6 grains of Varget. My speeds are around 30-15, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and I'm using 39.4 grains of H4350, and my speed is right around 3025, which again is interesting because we kind of arrived at the same speed using completely different powders.
Yeah. Which
again, you know, for folks that are optimal barrel time theory fans, well, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we independently arrived on those two velocities.
Well, awesome. Why don't I go ahead and set my rifle to the side, and then you can take the folks through your build.
So we'll start with the chassis.
I'm just going to turn it slightly.
All right. So we'll start with the chassis. So I'm running the Manners Gen 2 chassis. Gen 2 refers to their vacuum forming process. You'll notice it has these finger grooves, and it's supposed to provide a much more rigid product than their Generation 1 stocks. And this is actually one of their chassis systems, so this isn't bedded in.
It has an aluminum
right, from here to here.
Yeah, there's aluminum substructure within there.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so I've been running two different rifles in this, my 308 as well as my 6x47, and I've just found it to be very, very accurate and repeatable. Very, very pleasantly surprised with the degree of repeatability that I get with this chassis system. And then I just like the ergonomics of the Manor stocks. It's just something that
because we've been running them, for years now.
Yeah, something that I'm used to. And this is an evaluation chassis that they sent us, where it has the MPA barricade stop system, which I've been playing around with a bit. But I mean, personally, I haven't used that barricade stop system that much. I tend to use more the like
Game
a
changer.
Reezer, like the Reezer Game Changer bag.
Okay.
So the trigger, of course, is a jewel trigger, which we've been running for some time. The bipod is a Harris bipod, and I've got different versions of Harris bipods with different feet. These are the ones that were
Tactical Supply or Tactical Supply Talent Bipod Talents.
Bipod Talents.
Which, by the way, folks, they are back in.
Yes, they are.
They're back online with their web shops open, so you can buy these now.
And then if you look at our bipod video, it'll explain how you can convert a Harris right here for a Picatinny rail. So we'll have a link to that. And then I've got flush cups fore and aft.
Left and right?
Yeah, left and right. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go with...
Well, I noticed this is a fairly new break. I've seen this before, but you've been running it now for a month or so.
This is the inside arms brake, and what they did is they made some minor modifications and did some cosmetic things here with the I don't know exactly what you would call that, the tension nut, or anyway, this part right here, it's just very visually pleasing.
Does it self-time now?
No, you have to.
Okay, you have to time.
There's a flat spot, and I just put a level underneath there and get it just right.
Okay.
And then
this has been cut for 6 mil?
6 mil.
Okay.
That's correct. And then the scope I'm running is the Knife Force A-Tacker. It's the 5x25. And so far, it's been a really, really nice scope. It's got the Mil-C reticle. And it comes with the Tenebrix covers, but unfortunately with the 1-inch rings, there's just not enough clearance to run it here.
I ran into that same problem with my Knife Force a while back.
Yeah. And then I'm using the Seekins 1-inch rings, and then for my bubble level, just the standard Vortex bubble level, and I can actually see it with my non-shooting eye because it's just positioned just
forward of the front ring.
Yeah. So that works well. And then it's a Defiance Deviant action.
Left hand,
of course. Mm-hmm. And then perhaps the most important component, one would argue, is the barrel, and this is a barrel made by Benchmark Barrels.
Now, I'll just make a quick comment on that, if I may. You may have mentioned, or may have noticed in the last couple of months, that we have brought on a new sponsor for our regular episodes that we produce, and that is Benchmark Barrels, who make world-class accurate barrels. And so we've formed a partnership with them, and they're helping us out by providing barrels. And so what you're seeing here is actually our first set of rifles that are running Benchmark barrels.
Correct. And so they did the chambering, but again, that isn't something that they normally do. Their business is selling barrels to gunsmiths who would normally do the chambering, but they're local. And so we just, so that the barrel could show in the best possible light, it's like, okay, guys, chamber it up, do the whole thing, fit it, headspace it. And so again, we're running, this is their 3-groove barrel in 6x47, and so far it's been a very, very accurate barrel. Been very, very pleased with it.
And this is 26 inches MTU contour.
Correct. And just a very simple, just while it was in the lathe, just took some sandpaper, so it's just a nice kind of a grippy surface, but a utilitarian finish, because shooting 6 mil, you're going to be spinning
a new one on it at the end of the year.
Yeah. So no sense in going with like a fancy color pattern.
Okay.
And I think I've covered everything. So
I'm thinking, as far as kind of what's new versus previous years: scope, barrel, brake, and cartridge. correct?
Correct. But
Okay.
yeah, from a chassis system, I'm still a traditionalist. I like this. I mean, I'll probably experiment with some of the other chassis out there, but you just form a degree of muscle memory over time.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
I mean, I can just get behind this with my eyes closed. And now, one thing I do want to do is get a Arca Swiss, or some would say really right stuff rail put on here, and I'm going to send it back to Manners to do it, because there's some certain things that they do with the stock. They just don't route it out to put the rail there. There's some important things that they do to make sure that you don't
Compromise the integrity of the stock.
Exactly. So that's one thing that, even when we spoke with Tom at SHOT Show, if you're going to have a rail or any type of changes made to the stock, better off sending it to them.
Yeah, I would agree.
So let's take a look at your rifle, Steve. Yep.
So we've covered the cartridge. I think one of the benefits, particularly as a couple guys that enjoy shooting together and going to matches together, that if you're shooting the same cartridge and your velocities are pretty close, you can actually share some of the dope or ballistic information, which is helpful. So let's go starting from the very front. This is an Inside Arms brake. It's the same brake I've been running actually. Now, I've had that for a couple of years.
An earlier version.
It's an earlier version. Does not self-time. It's a 3-port brake, very effective. It's actually their 6.5 mil version. Again, benchmark barrel, same exact barrel as Ed's. The only difference is the finish. This is they call it kind of their stonewash finish.
But you're more of a fashionista, so you kind of...
Well, the whole tone was a little bit muted. I wanted to not have something so flashy on the front, so I went with kind of the bead blasted look.
It's a nice finish.
And then, of course, I'm running the Masterpiece Arms competition chassis, and this has the Really Right Stuff Dovetail mount system. And you can see on here that I actually have a bipod mounted on that system.
Now you had this rail put in aftermarket, right?
That's right. Yeah. So actually, this is an earlier version before MPA started offering this as sort of a regular functionality on their chassis. And so this is something that can be done at a machine shop or a gunsmith. I took mine over to Sawtooth Rifles. They're here in Northwest Washington, and it's a service that they offer. So I went ahead and had it done.
Well, for what it's worth, if you want to have it done and you want it done right, it certainly looks like they did a very nice job.
Yeah. I'm very happy with what they've done. In fact, they offer a number of accessories and whatnot. We won't go into detail on that in this video, but they have a number of different accessories that they've engineered and manufactured to mount bipods and so on to a Really Right Stuff dovetail mount. Okay, so let's talk about this bipod. So for those of you guys that may have not seen this or familiar with it, this is what is called the SkyPod, C-K-Y-E. So the SkyPod is available. It's actually designed and developed by Sky Thomas, and he's out of Montana. And these retail for, I believe, $500. So it was kind of pricey, and I had to make sure I really wanted it before I kind of dished out that kind of money for a bipod.
That's a commitment.
It's a commitment. But when I saw some of the posts on this and what it could do versus what I had been running, which is the Atlas, I was sold in terms of at least giving it a try, because for one, the travel available in terms of how much elevation you've got, you can go from there, and then of course you can splay this out this way, or you can even come up super high if you had to. So the amount of flexibility, as well as being able to, the amount of cant travel.
Now, can you lock that? Can you lock the tension?
You can't lock the tension. You can adjust the tension.
Okay.
The tension adjustment is here, And of course, like an Atlas, you can come at a 45 here as well. So just a lot of options in terms of getting the adjustment you want. And as far as the speed, it's very, very easy and fast to manipulate. You just pull on it to the length that you want. So far, I've had this now for about 5 or 6 months. I got it about a couple months after SHOT Show, and I've been running it. We took it down to New Mexico, and it's performed extremely well.
Yeah, well, all the dust, dirt, grit, and everything
Yeah.
seemed to do well.
And the fact that, again, and this is not unique to the SkyPod, but I can run that bipod anywhere I want.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I want to go especially for shooting off parapets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
So coming back, I'm running the USO B25 scope. We actually have done a gear update video on that, so you can pick up the details there. But so just coming back on the rifle again, I'm running the Masterpiece Arms chassis. This chassis, I sold off my XLR carbon fibers a couple of years ago, and because a lot of guys had gone to the MPA, I wanted to check that out. So I started with a couple of these chassis. The other one is on my 223 trainer. And this has been a great chassis. One is I've noticed the MPA is constantly modifying and adapting their product based on user feedback from their customers.
And when you order them, I understand you can get them fairly quickly.
Yes, yeah, you can. And so the other thing on this chassis that I like, it does have the bubble level, so I don't have a bubble level on the scope. And I can adjust the cheek piece and the length of pull very easily through these knobs. Now, one thing I'd remarked to you before is there's not a system to quickly come back to the same setting if I wanted to, for example, take the cheek piece down to clean the rifle or bore sight it. What I've done is actually have developed a little wedge that I carry around my backpack that I put in here. It just has an index line. So if I want to come back to the same height, I put the wedge in here and then adjust it to that index line. Couple other items that didn't mention. I'm still running a Huber 2-stage trigger. This one's set at just over a pound, about a pound and 2 ounces. And the other thing I love about this chassis is just this grip of how I mount the rifle.
And you can swap out these grips too, right? You can get different types.
Yeah,
that's a very nice feature. And then you've got this card holder, data card holder.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. So right after SHOT Show, we were contacted by a company called XRing Armory, and they offered a dope card holder. Now, who doesn't sell a dope card holder? I was like, well, we've seen this. Like, what else is new that we have not seen? And so they charge, I believe, $49 for this. So, for one thing, I thought, well, it's a lot to ask. But when I actually mounted it and actually have used this for about 3 months now, I was very pleasantly surprised in terms of how sturdy it's been engineered and manufactured. This is not a quick 3D print. This is actually a tough injection molded plastic. And you have almost infinite level of maneuverability with where you want that data card holder to sit, whether it's, sort of a portrait orientation lengthwise, if you're going to come up this way or maybe down low. I also liked the size of this. You don't have sort of a proprietary sized card. This is actually the size of a standard business card.
And I'm sure your employer
let's not look on the backside of them. Now, you'll notice that I've used this so much that now I've stretched the card holder out quite a bit. So it's a little feedback I'll probably give to the manufacturer is.
Yeah, but you can always just turn it upside down.
You can always turn it upside down, but yeah, if yours stretches out,
sideways,
your card may actually drop out unless you stuff a lot in there. So. Actually, I really love that accessory.
Yeah, I got one. I need to put that on my rifle. I think we've covered everything, and of course you're running a benchmark barrel. I think we mentioned that earlier.
Yeah,
just
benchmark.
like mine, same cartridge.
So we're eager to get out there. We're regular participants at our club match every month, but looking to get out to a few more matches this year. Just more for the experience and having fun than anything.
Absolutely. It's all about having fun. Well, folks, we hope you found that useful. If you liked this video, please like, link, subscribe, or tag, share, whatever you feel is appropriate for a video.
To whatever social media platform you like.
Just do it.
All right, guys. Remember, life's an adventure.
Stay on target.